VXRT's earning reports are in, and currently VXRT is in phase 2 of their clinical trials for their COVID vaccine pill. Vaxart also rose 46.73% from its 52-week low and is up 20.67% year to date. Now, while COVID numbers in the U.S. are trending south, COVID-19 is still ravaging the rest of the world. Now, with all this going on, do you buy? Do you sell? Do you hold VXRT? Are we still feeling bullish, or are we now bearish about this stock? Let's break it down in today's episode of Money Talk Sundayz. Thanks for tuning in to Money Talk Sundayz. I'm your investment bro, Stevie Bee. Now, it's been a few weeks since I last covered Vaxart, our favorite biotech stock. But what we're going to do now, we're going to go ahead and circle back and see what's going on with it. Hit that like button on your way in the door, and let's get started. Now, during the recent session, Vaxart's traded shares were 1.68 million, with the beta value of the company hitting 0.24. Now, at the last check, the stock's price was roughly $6.57, reflecting an intraday loss of 4.64% or minus 32 cents. Now, the 52-week high for the Vaxart share is $24.90, so that puts it down roughly 279.0 from that peak, though still a striking 46.73% gain since the share price plummeted to a 52-week low of $3.50. Now, the company's market capitalization is $887.57 million, and the average trade volume was 4.52 million shares over the past 3 months. Vaxart is currently still a recommended buy from a variety of analysts. Now, VXRT registered a 4.64% downside in the last session and has traded in the red over the past 5 trading sessions. The stock plummeted in an intraday trading to $6.57, hitting a weekly high. Now, the stock's 5-day price performance is minus 0.14%, and it has moved minus 2.96% in the last 30 days. Based on these numbers, the overall price performance for the year is 34.57%. Now, the consensus price target of analysts on Wall Street for Vaxart is $13. That is the price target. So this implies an increase of 49.46% to the stock's current value. Now, the extremes on this price target forecast gives a target low and a target high price of $9 and $18 respectively. So as a result, VXRT is trading at a discount of minus 173.97% off the target high end and 36.99% on the low end. Now, Vaxart insiders, they currently own 0.71% of total outstanding shares, while institutional holders control 36.92%, with the float percentage being 37.18%. BlackRock Incorporated is the largest shareholder of VXRT, while 198 institutions own stock in it. As of June 29, 2021, the company held over 8.17 million shares, or roughly 6.52% of all shares, a total value of $61.19 million in shares. Now, the next largest institutional holding with 7.44 million shares is of State Street Corporation. That is approximately 5.94% of outstanding shares. At the market price on June 29, 2021, these shares were valued at $55.7 million. Now, regarding the earnings report from Vaxart, there's a lot of things you want to keep in mind, take into consideration. One of those things is during the third quarter, Vaxart started the first phase 2 trial of its investigational COVID-19 oral tablet vaccine and dosed its first subjects. Vaxart expects the full data set from this study to be available in the first quarter of 2022. So obviously, for those that are waiting on a pill, it won't be by the end of the year. Well, we've already said that. Vaxart also expanded its research and manufacturing capabilities, enhancing its ability to advance its pipeline of vaccine candidates. Per the CEO, VXRT's oral vaccine candidate is the only oral COVID-19 vaccine to progress to phase 2 trials in the U.S. Do not mistake this with Merck's oral COVID-19 treatment, therapeutic drug. It is not a vaccine. It is a therapeutic drug. Once you have COVID-19, you would take Merck's pill. To avoid getting COVID-19, you would take VXRT's pill. Now, the CEO said, our view has been that an oral tablet vaccine could transform how the world is protected from COVID-19 and other infections because they are easy to distribute and administer. Now we added evidence suggesting the differentiated mucosal mechanism of action could be yet another improvement over injectable alternatives. So, what has VXRT done to stay in this race? Well, Vaxart recently brought online its own GMP manufacturing facility and is now producing vaccines at 2 GMP plants. This has allowed the company to manufacture all of the COVID-19 vaccine oral tablets for the clinical trials started and planned to start this year, and to begin manufacturing vaccines for its upcoming norovirus phase 2 trials. Vaxart scaled up its research, quality, and manufacturing capabilities, increasing its research and development employee headcount by more than 35% during this third quarter. Also, during this third quarter, Vaxart named Dr. James F. Cummings as its chief medical officer. Dr. Cummings is a board-certified infectious disease physician with extensive experience in vaccine, drug, and diagnostics development, and will help guide the company's development of its vaccines. But wait, there is more. So, Vaxart made significant progress in the third quarter 2021 to advance its transformative approach to vaccines. Vaxart, as again, began dosing subjects in October for its phase 2 clinical trials in the United States, which is expected to enroll 96 subjects. The company expects data from this study to be available during the first quarter of 2022. The study will be conducted with subjects split evenly between COVID-19 naive and mRNA vaccinated subjects. During the fourth quarter, Vaxart expects to start phase 1B clinical testing in India. Now, the company expects to launch additional international clinical trials in first half of 2022. There's a lot going on with Vaxart, apparently. So even though they're not making the news every day for big gains in the stocks, they're making a lot of moves behind the scenes. They're doing what they have to do. Now, there are some preclinical developments in regards to the COVID-19 vaccine that they're working on. Again, before we already heard that a Duke University-led study published in BioRxiv in October showed that Vaxart's investigational oral tablet vaccine candidate reduced the airborne transmission of the coronavirus in a hamster model. These results are consistent with those from VXRT's phase 2 human flu challenge study, which showed that Vaxart's oral tablet flu vaccine was better at reducing shedding than the injectable flu vaccine comparator. Now, VXRT's preclinical study also demonstrated that the company's oral vaccine platform induces robust systemic and mucosal responses. The study suggested that mucosal vaccines may protect not only vaccinated but also unvaccinated animals. So VXRT will submit the results of this non-human primate study for publication in the fourth quarter. Results from that study prompted VXRT to move forward with its S-only vaccine candidate in phase 2 clinical trials. This S-only vaccine candidate produced better antibody responses and cross-reactivity against all variants tested than VXRT's S and N vaccine candidate. What else? I mean, financial results. Vaxart ended the quarter with cash equivalents, and available for sale debt securities of $204.0 million compared to $198.9 million as of June 30, 2021. Now, this increase was primarily due to net receipts of $20.3 million from the company's $250 million at-the-market facility entered into in October 2020, and $0.3 million from the exercise of warrants and options, partially offset by $14.2 million in cash used in operations and $1.3 million spent on property and equipment. Now, the company reported a net loss of $17.6 million for the third quarter of 2021 compared to $8.1 million for the third quarter of 2020. Net loss per share for the third quarter of 2021 was 14 cents compared to a net loss of 8 cents per share in the third quarter of 2020. The increase in this net loss per share is primarily due to the increase in their overall net loss, resulting from a significant increase in research and development expenses. Now, revenue for the third quarter of 2021 was only $200,000 compared to $265,000 in the third quarter of 2020. The decrease was due to lower royalty revenue from sales of Inavir in Japan. Now, research and development expenses were $12.4 billion for the third quarter of 2021 compared to just $4.6 million for the third quarter of 2020. The increase, of course, is due to the increases in the headcount and related costs and in manufacturing and clinical trial expenses related to the COVID-19 and norovirus vaccine candidates that they are currently working on. Now, the general administrative expenses were $5 million for the third quarter of 2021 compared to $4.2 million for the third quarter of 2020. Obviously, this increase is due to an increase in the headcount and related costs. So, as they are expanding, their net loss is increasing, but they are working on multiple oral vaccine tablets, not just coronavirus, but also norovirus, also the flu virus, the flu vaccine. They have multiple lanes they are running. So are you feeling bearish? Are you bullish? How do you feel about Vaxart? Let me know in the comment section. Tell me how you feel about it, and we're out.
Take a penny, leave a penny, I ain't got no act right. Say you need a hit, I spit fire in a crap pipe. Road niggas beef, another episode of bum fight. Say she sprung a leak and need a plumber with my dome tight. On site, rating now, this is called a long pipe. She don't get it, guess it's gonna be another long night. Stevie don't sleep, Stevie do that over time. Stevie gon' shoot from that 3-point line. I make it in, ho. New slaves hating like I'm Django. Say she love the D, now she buy up on my Fago. Oops, I'm at Fuego. Chilly niggas hate though. You could cop this heat too, but